Good afternoon, Maria speaking. It's 2:21 p.m. It is October 19th. It is Monday afternoon, and I am home for the rest of the day, and I'm just kicking back, and I was going to listen to some music, and then I was going to watch some old reruns. It's like I'm so bored of that already. I'm bored with all of it. I just want to do something and get out of my house. I'm dying to get out of the house for long periods of time. I did go to the park yesterday for a very brief moment, and then earlier than that I walked up the street and looked at some Halloween decorations that some of the people had in the neighborhood, and I love judging that. I love looking at it with the most realistic looking haunting setup that people have out there. And there's one that is just like, ooh, really spooky. They did a good job on that. They really did. But anyway, so I'm out here making a video, and I wanted to talk about how obviously I was talking about being a targeted individual. That's what my whole channel is about, right? But I wanted to talk about concepts that I think are really important that are overlooked, when it comes to how businesses operate. And so what I was writing out was, I call this now business education, and talking about the current issues that are affecting so many people. Now, obviously, there's training that's available to people who are running businesses, people who are in charge of businesses, people who are in charge of employee files and interviewing people and all that stuff. But like I said, these issues slip right through, and we're either dealing with ignorance or we're dealing with corruption, and there's probably a little bit of both. But I do see the importance of it, and I know there's a lot of talk in the targeted individual community, because I'm always seeing like these petitions that get sent to my email, or I see them posted on Facebook. I see them like far too often, and they're always like, well, we need to get these laws enforced, or some of these people don't realize there's already laws on the books that cover the issues that we're dealing with. There's already laws on the books. A lot of them pertain directly to employment, and a lot of them are just laws that are just affect everyone, whether you're working in a job or not, relating to harassment, gang stalking, human trafficking, all these laws, whether they relate to business or not, and a lot of them do, are already here. The problem with it is that we have an issue of them being enforced. So I've seen petitions where they want people to enforce these laws. Okay, the same thing. Okay, we have the issue of sexual harassment, we have the issue of religious discrimination, we have the issue of racial discrimination. How many times have we argued about this over and over and over again? The issue is that like I said, many people don't recognize these issues when they are confronted with them. They get swept up with the herd mentality. They know that their boss is saying, hey, we don't talk to this person because they might go to a synagogue, or they might, whatever. Okay. And so in the back of their mind, they're like, okay, right. Okay. I'll make sure I'll note that, we don't talk to this person. We're going to exclude this person. We're going to do this sort of stuff. But they're there for a reason. Their job is to help the business owner make the correct decisions, and ask them, I'm not trying to raise a fuss or anything, but this is conflicting with these established laws and rules that are in place. Instead of getting swept up in the motion of, this is a herd mentality, this is whatever. If we had responsible people in these positions who understand and don't let the excitement of, the group mentality get to them. This is what the problem is, because people aren't using proper judgment. So my thing is obviously, oh, hang on, I'm gonna have to pause this. Okay, I was asked for a paper clip, and I don't know why, but I love colored paper clips. They just make things a little bit more interesting, and I'm kind of selfish with them. It's like, don't touch my paper clips. But anyway, so what I was thinking about is how there's education seminars, training programs, that come into businesses and talk about these issues. And then once again, it goes in one ear and out the other. Or they continue to participate and they don't think that what they're doing applies to any of that. Okay. So how do you get people to understand That's my question. How do you get people to understand and stop violating these laws? And there's always going to be somebody who's going to violate laws, but how do you... I think it's giving the responsibility to people who are going to show responsibility, people who are going to, who aren't afraid to stand up and say, I'm not trying to make rifts. Like if like, let's just say I was working and my boss came in and said, we're not going to hire this person because they're, they go to a mosque, or they're Jewish, or they're, whatever. And I'm just going to ask them. You don't have to do it in a confrontational way. You're just going to say, well, according to federal and state laws, we have this issue of discrimination. Do they fit the requirements? Do they have the skills necessary? Is that the only reason why? I don't expect somebody to put themselves on a job. I mean, their job on the line, but they should be posing these questions, okay? And whether the owner decides to accept that person or not, that ultimate decision's in their hand, okay? But one thing you want to do is you don't want to be held accountable for the bad decisions of other people. I really do think that these jobs they should be given to responsible people, so that your hands aren't dirty, that you're not the one who is responsible for committing a crime. So some of the things that they talk about at work are that I think should be talked about in human resources, or in the business world. A part of the business education would be the issue, number one, of trafficking. Now, trafficking is a huge issue, and I know that there's organizations here, even in this community, that talk about, there's the human trafficking organization. There's also one that talks, that's for domestic violence, okay? But these issues need to be carefully looked at and understand the methods that get used in order to create the violence, in order to traffic a person. Okay, so when you see a person such as myself, there's a lot of gossip surrounding them, mystery, all kinds of information and stuff. People need to question, wait a second, is this person a victim of human trafficking? So most of the trafficking that goes on, there's a lot of trafficking. There's those high dollar traffickers where they've got people coming in, children, selling them off as prostitutes, child soldiers, all kinds of stuff, okay? Trafficking is a lucrative business, okay? But the majority of trafficking happens right in your neighborhood, happens at your workplace. And there's a person that's constantly being picked on, and people aren't picking it up, okay? And there should be hotline numbers available for people who are suspected of being victims of human trafficking. They should be at the front desk for, and known throughout the organization, so that if a person doesn't want to put their job on the line, but they see this going on, they should be able to access that number and contact someone anonymously, in which they do have those available. But I'm saying that this could help people, because what this program is, it's a modern day Holocaust of not Jews really, but of people in general, okay? It's a way that excludes, it's a form of genocide that excludes people, okay? And we know these sort of things happen in other countries, but they shouldn't happen in the United States, okay? So some of the issues relating to human trafficking would be forced marriages, okay, which I've talked about before. I have gone through this issue where I was expected to be in a relationship where this particular person was bullying me, harassing me through other people, manipulating me financially, and so on and so forth, right? And so we have to question ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with a person referring you to a job, okay? And sometimes, I personally think things should be done up front. Like, they should be introduced to, like, if you have a person that you think is good for a job, and a business owner or something, it's better to do everything up front. Hey, I got this friend, I got this person I used to know, they might want to work for your company, and you introduce them, maybe go to lunch together, even in the midst of COVID-19, okay, but whatever. Go out and spend some time to go to the office and say, this is the person, I think would be good for you. Have this open communication, so you know who your reference is. You know who your reference is. and the business owner knows who you are, who referred you, and all this other stuff, so that you know that you want to make sure that this person is well accommodated, meaning this reference that was nice enough to stick their neck out for you, you want to make sure that you do a good job for that person, right? Okay, so there's an agreement there, but they're nothing more than a reference. They don't own your shit, okay? They don't own the right to tell you how to live your life, blah, 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 blah. You are expected to enter that workplace under the same laws and freedoms and privileges that everyone else has, okay? But when you see someone in your workplace being restricted in any way, this particular person can't wear dresses on Thursday, just ridiculous shit, right? Then you need to question, is this person a victim of human trafficking? Okay, but those issues are really important, okay? So when I think of, and I do know that people are continually going to place job ads for bringing in a certain person. Maybe they want to do this, but the owner of the company should be asking, okay, so you're not doing this directly. Have a checklist as to determine why this person is here. Why are they here? Are they here because they really can do a good job? Or are you there trying to force a marriage made onto somebody? Are you there to introduce someone? Because what happens if you hire, you think you're going to be matchmaking, right? You think you found this person, the man of their dreams, right? And then this person's supposed to work at the job or something. This is just a scenario. So you go in there as a single woman. You go and you start working this job, right? You start working this job. You're not attracted to this person. The only thing that you have to deal with this person is, like, maybe you talk because you're dealing with work. You're not, there's no compatibility whatsoever. So guess what happens to the woman? She gets to be booted out of the company, okay, and having to start all over again finding a job when that wasn't appropriate in the first place. We have to think about the lives that get ruined when we do foolish things like this, okay? And it's foolish, okay? So trafficking is an issue that I think should be talked about in the workplace. And I think that people should get trained on these things. I really do. I think they should be trained on these topics. Because obviously, if we're dealing with millions of people, even here in the United States, okay, we're dealing with a ton of people who are like myself, who are stuck in situations unable to plan their futures because of this sort of stuff, okay? So I think that's important. So also, outside intrusion would be like, the gossip, okay? It's like somebody heard that this person did this, and this, and whatever, and they're getting involved with things that don't belong in the workplace, okay? If you wanted to, you can pick out bullshit excuses to keep anyone from having a job, okay? Like, there might be someone in your neighborhood, okay, and when they were in high school, they may have, I don't know, cheated on a test. Maybe they might have had a child out of wedlock or something, whatever, a long time ago. And so people want to use these stupid things in order to affect the life of the person in their current day, in their current life. And you got to think about this. Is this fair? Are they able to perform the task of the job? And this is what I'm saying, is like, the outside intrusion, whether it be a stalker, that's another issue, stalking. People need to talk about stalking in the workplace. And it is important because the elements of stalking, human trafficking, gang stalking, forced marriages, or matchmaking, okay, all these little stupid things that people do, and they think it's cute. They think, maybe some people even think they're being helpful. Because there was a target individual that I saw on YouTube. I forgot her name, but she's a black woman, okay? And they were basically saying, oh, you need to get a man, and blah, 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 blah. And some people really think, they look at a single woman, okay, and they think, oh, but she really needs someone. She's so lonely. She's so lonely. And so some people really think that they're doing something good. They really think, well, why should she be alone all the time? Aww. So they'll, put something in place so this person doesn't have to be by themselves, okay? But while they're doing this person's not working. They've got bills to pay. They've got things that they're having to delay. They need to get back on their feet. Doesn't matter, whether their bills are being paid by somebody else or whatever. But people have the right to establish themselves and set their lives and plan their lives accordingly. Okay, so when you deal with this sort of stuff, which is also a form of sexual harassment, if you look at the guidelines of sexual harassment, they'll talk about blocking. Okay, some people think that, a woman's trying to walk through the door, so you got this dude like going like this. Can't get out, can't get out. That's kind of a form of blocking. But blocking is actually a form of blocking from employment. Preventing you from making a living because someone's blocking your way. And oftentimes they're blocking your way because they want to play this matchmaking game. Whether they're either trying to match you up with someone new or they're trying to match you up with someone that you're trying to get away from. Okay, these things are illegal and they're a form of harassment. Imagine if you were dealing with a domestic issue where you not only experience, like myself, I experienced psychological as well as financial abuse, okay? But what if you were in case where you suffered not just those two, but you also got your face beat in every single night, right? So you finally leave this person and you go in for a job interview, and that man at the desk who's interviewing you has all the intentions of making you go back to that person that caused you hell. Okay? Not only is that traumatizing, it's putting more delays in your ability to stand up on your feet. Okay? So these sort of things, you need to understand what these things mean. And when you're doing these sort of things, ask yourself, why are you doing it? I know you want to participate in games that other people are playing. I know you want to be a part of the social scene, okay? Everybody wants to be included to some degree. No one likes to be completely out of the loop, okay? But you need to ask yourself what you're doing. Is it illegal? It is even your right to do that, okay? If people want to go get a relationship, there's plenty of websites out there. There's Facebook. There's dating sites. There's no bars, okay? I don't suggest anybody meet anyone at bars, but people can stroll down the aisles of the grocery store. They can take care of those issues on their own, okay? And I know there's even though there's some people who are very hostile that I had to deal with, okay? I do believe that there are some people who just have this romantic idea in their mind that they want to help. And they do this with a lot of single women. This is a single women's issue. Okay, but what single women need more than anything is they need to feel safe. That's what they need. They don't need to play matchmaker. What you're doing is more traumatizing to a person than anything. Okay, they want to go about their lives like everyone else. Okay, and I also want to say, yeah, I'm lonely. Okay, but I'm not lonely for romance. I'm not. If I wanted it, I'd go get it. Okay, and there's a difference between romance and somebody who's consumed with lust. There's a difference between, and seriously, I know it's right for me. I do. If I was interested in going out and getting something like that, I would make an effort to go do that. But see, those aren't my goals, and that's a lot of issues with a lot of women. Some women just want to be able to make sure that they feel safe themselves before they even think about going out and getting someone else. Okay, but they can't do that. They can't establish themselves, and you're putting them in situations where maybe they're going to be meeting somebody who is going to abuse them. Whatever the case is, I know some people do have it in them to be concerned and they want to be helpful. Okay, but do understand that what you're doing is wrong. Okay, and it's intrusive. Not everybody wants to put their love life or their lack of love life out there in public forum. They just don't, okay? And it's a form, it can be, kind of degrading and, embarrassing for some people, I'm not embarrassed about it, but I'm outraged about it, because it's like, you don't do that shit, okay? It doesn't, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and it's not appreciated. So what else do I want to cover? The single women, the antagonizing of single women, insisting that you need a love interest, insisting that you're so lonely, or you need to raise yourself up socially through your amorous relationship. Okay, there's a lot of single women who don't have amorous relationships, and I understand. If you have a husband who is powerful, or a potential man in your life who is powerful, who has a lot of business connections and stuff like that, some people want to merge and join forces and stuff like that. And a man could open doors for you. There's a lot of people who say this all the time. People can open doors for you. As a matter of fact, I remember a white man telling me, Marie, I think you really should, because, he knew that I dated white men in the past, okay? I will not touch one with a 10-foot pole. As I get older, you realize things. But still, he was basically saying to me, you should stick with white men because white men are going to open doors for you. I don't want anyone opening a door for me. Okay? Because every time somebody opens a door for you, they want something in return. And they might want your life. Okay? So no thank you. But I do understand that, certain people do have privileges. I'm being realistic, okay? If you're in a group of white people, okay, and your husband so happens to be white or whatever, he has more ability to negotiate than you do. You don't look like them. They don't, they don't even know you. You're a stranger, okay? Those are advantages to doing that, okay? But overall happiness, that's just not going to cut it, okay? Whatever the case is, when you think about what women need protection, okay, of these forms of abuse. It's abuse. Is what it is, okay? Even the good-hearted people who are trying to be helpful, trying to make sure that you don't have to go to bed all by yourself. You don't have to rely on your stuffed animals to keep you warm. Poor girl. Even those people could cause harm, okay? Like, when I was talking about how we were talking about the laws of blacklisting, okay? And they were talking about if death occurs or some serious accident happens to this person, whether this person gave you this judgment of blacklisting and harmed you intentionally or unintentionally, you're going to be responsible for what happens to that person. Because there's a lot of people, I really do believe, especially young girls, who have it in their mind, they romanticize everything, okay? They'll think you being stalked is like the most romantic thing in the world. Oh, he loves her! And that's not the case at all. He might want you just for your financial resources and that's it. Okay? So they don't know, but in their mind they're like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give her that interview and I'm going to waste her time because that guy really loves her, and it's not about that at all. Okay? They're not intentionally hurting you, but they're keeping you out of employment. They're keeping you in a situation. It's harassment. You're sinking financially. They're putting you in a state of destitution. Okay, and so whether it's intentional or unintentional, you'd be responsible for that. So these are some of the issues that I wanted to talk about, and I hope I'm covering them okay. But I really do. I think that people really need to get down to the heart of the matter and make sure that people understand. And you know what really bothers me about the sexual harassment issue? Is that they'll have this stupid bullshit training about sexual harassment. Does everybody understand it? Let's sign this document. Make sure you turn it back in so you understand what sexual harassment is. And then the next thing you know, they're going to call some chick in for a job interview and they're going to fuck with her. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Okay, you need to understand what you're doing, and that's important. It's important to know what you're doing. And it's also important that you use your ability to be objective when it comes to these decisions that get brought into your workplace. Okay, I'm not saying you got to put your job on the line. I'm not saying you got to raise hell. I'm not saying you have to sit here and do an uprising in your workplace. That's not what I'm saying. But when you hear these business decisions being mentioned to you, you are getting paid as a human resource individual or a business director or whatever, and it's your responsibility to pose those questions. Now, and you can come off saying, well, I'm not trying to lift any or make any waves, but under these circumstances, it seems as though this would be illegal, and explain to this person why. Explain to this person why. So if they want to go on with their bullshit, that's fine, but at least you said, I'm aware that this is wrong. Okay? And take that responsibility off of you. That's one thing. So, anyway, next issue. I talked about blocking. I talked about, discrimination. How easy is it? Ask yourself, denying discrimination. Now, this is another issue. Okay? Now, I am in a white community. Okay? And guess what? All right, and I'm sure it comes as a surprise to you, but I'm black. So anyway, So that can shock a lot of people, okay? It can shock a lot of people, and a lot of people are very shocked by the fact that their discrimination. Now, this issue of me lying to my husband 20-something frickin' years ago, okay, it was a very long period of time, okay? But this issue is what created all the harassment. Never mind that this man was keeping me captive. Never mind the fact that his family was bullying me. Never mind the fact that, he lied himself because he had other relationships, whatever. All these issues, what mattered is that I said that I was half white almost 2 decades ago. Okay? Did it click in anybody's mind that this issue was a discrimination issue? And a lot of people, it doesn't, because we're in denial of it. Okay? But for somebody who's in a position of authority, it's a responsibility to decipher these issues. Now, obviously, this was a marital issue. Shouldn't have been a part of work. Okay? And then, are you in denial of it? Like, are you in denial? When I went to this factory home place, I'm not going to mention the name, okay, but this bitch that was a secretary, a lot of times they try to hide the fact that they're racist, okay? And a lot of people think, well, because I'm married to a black person, or I have a granddaughter who's black, that means I'm not a racist. But when you get down to the heart of the matter, they kind of are. And it shows, okay? Just like my family's blended, okay? But there's a lot of bullshit that goes on in my family too, okay? And people might love their spouse of another race. A lot of white men date Asian women because they're wanting somebody who's submissive and subservient, when that may not be the case at all. She might be loudmouth and very independent, but they have these ideas in their mind. You see what I'm saying? These preconceived ideas, and it affects their relationship, okay? And so that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a racist. So what she did when I first started there, after she was being a complete total cunt to me, right, she thought, well, I'm going to hide my racist behavior and I'll bring my granddaughter in, and then she won't think that I'm a racist. Just the very fact that you did that shows that you're racist, because why were you thinking of doing that in the first place? You see what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with racial issues, okay, and it's coming into your workplace, and they're making decisions based on who you're going to antagonize and who you're going to you need to understand and recognize that too, especially when it comes to race or religion, something along those lines, okay? As a person who is in a position of human resources, or somebody who is making those sort of business decisions in your relations to the people in your business, you don't have to be a hellraiser, but you got to ask some questions. Okay, and then that's what my issue is. So, next one that I want to talk about. Discrimination, religion, health. Same thing. Same with religion, race, and all this other stuff. Be objective, and, when you hear people talking, see, oftentimes when you're being involved in your workplace, the upper management or the business owner, they're in on it anyway, because they hired this person, under certain circumstances, whether that's to keep them married, or they're trying to convert you into some religion, or whatever, okay? So the harassment comes from up top, which means that they are encouraging the people on the lower part of the pyramid to be bullshit, to create bullshit, havoc, harassment, tension, whatever, okay? Obviously, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen, okay? Okay, but you got to ask yourself the question, when you hear these gossip things people gossiping, they're talking about, first of all, I'm sure the gossip that was being said about me, okay, is bullshit, all right? But the gossip that goes on, and when it gets brought up, hang on a second. Holy cow, where was I? But I realize I've been talking for almost 30 minutes. But anyway, where was I? Let me just see my notes here. Objective. Oh, okay, so when you hear gossip about, somebody's being excluded, there's gossip going around about a person and stuff, it's your responsibility as a head of that organization to squash it, to get to the root of it. Okay? Now, I know it's hard to do when you are dealing with a business owner or someone who's a higher decision maker to want to make waves, especially when they can cut your paycheck, or better yet, they can throw your ass out of the organization and make you a victim too, because this is the kind of shit that they'll do. crazy world we live in. But it's always should be your responsibility to pose the question. I heard this about this particular person, something about them trying to keep her married or whatever, or talking about her, I don't know, God knows what the kind of shit they were saying about me, but it was probably all bad, rumors or whatever. But still, you have to understand, it's a responsibility of people in these positions to keep the environment clean and then make it sure that it's productive for everybody. And so, I just think that there's a lot of improvements that need to be made when it comes to the workforce. There's a lot, and it's not because, like I said, it is not because I'm sticky. It's not because I'm somebody who doesn't like having a good time. It's not because I like to make a big deal, and I don't like to squash people's fun. Okay, but I do when it's at other people's expense. And because we're talking about a life and death issue here, okay, being a targeted individual is a very serious issue, and it should not be taken lightly. When you hear of people launching religious campaigns against other people, when you hear about people launching racial campaigns against other people, when you see a single woman who's constantly being badgered and her goals in life are being squashed, she can't get on her feet because somebody's got this proposal to make to her. She needs to get match made. She needs to have a partner. Like I said, even though you might be well-intentioned, you need to understand what your responsibilities truly are. Okay? And this is what I'm talking about. So, I'm not a political person. I don't vote. Okay? I personally think all of this is garbage, and that's my personal opinion. I know there's a lot of people who have a lot of beliefs and a lot of strong faith in the political system. And it's not that I don't have. I think laws are well written. I've said it before. Laws are very well written. They're almost, and there's nothing perfect, okay, but they're close. They cover everything. When you crack over law books, okay, and I have some in my room, okay, and they're kind of folded in on themselves, and there's a lot of crumpled pages, because I got into that shit, especially when I was younger, okay. These laws are written wonderfully. The problem with it is that people do not either know them, they're ignorant of them, this shit's getting played out in front of their face and they're not recognizing it, or they're corrupt. Okay? And you as an individual does not have to tarnish your reputation or your name or be associated with the garbage that goes on in your workplace if you at least pose certain questions. If you at least say, you know what, I know this is what you're going to do, but as a professional, this is something that I'm letting you know why this is illegal. So I'm letting you know of the dangers and I'm just warning you, because if something happens, if this comes back on you in any way, don't say that I didn't tell you. Don't tell me, I want you to know that I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job by letting you know about this issue that you're involving yourself in. This is my responsibility. With this duty, this is my responsibility to protect the company of potential lawsuits. Okay, it's serious. I know that human resources, like I said, it's an easy job on the surface. It is very easy. Okay, it's a bunch of forms. And it's, fill out these forms to get hired. Somebody gets disciplined, you make sure you note it. Of course, there's great ways of noting it now. There's all kinds of programs that organize, different employees and things, files and stuff like that. They're great. And there's a lot of great things that are out now, right? But it's basically still paper. Pushing papers, okay? But what's important is that you understand what really matters and in how to keep the platform peaceful, how to keep these issues out of the workforce so that people could have a pleasant work environment, because that's really important. And that's my issue, okay? That's my issue. I'm not a hellraiser. Like I said in my last videos, I'm not a hellraiser. And I'm not trying, and I think some people in this community thought that I was, after leaving the Farmer's Place, somebody thought that I was an activist. I became an activist in 2015, basically talking about rights in general. Okay, but I think they were saying that I was some sort of racist or something, or that bullshit. That's not it. Here's what happened at the farmer's place. They were giving me grief. I wasn't getting credit for my work. Bullshit was going on, okay? And I know who caused it now and what the whole fucking shit was, okay? So I ended up leaving the company. I left on a confidentiality contract, meaning I'm not saying anything about it. I'm going on with my next job, going on with my life, okay? Yes, there was slack about my hair, okay? But I don't believe that was the main issue. The main issue was I was getting pissed off because I was working my ass off and I wasn't getting credit for my work. I was being bullied at my workplace, okay? So, but the hair, it was an issue, okay? And because these people didn't understand the issue, and because I was working more than anybody should ever fucking work in anybody, okay? The responsibilities that they were giving me was just like, are you fucking kidding me? But somehow, like I said, Maria was like kicking ass. She was doing her job, right? So I left the company on confidentiality, and I was upholding it. But these people kept coming into my workplace. Okay, I received a letter of recommendation from my previous employer. The owner signed it himself. So then we had a little girl who decided to represent the company and act on her own behalf, or the owner allowed her to do what she did. Okay, whatever the case is, that should have been a lawsuit. Okay, I was not in any way trying to create some sort of racial uprising. I was not like being like any sort of, and nothing like that. I can't be held responsible for any of that. So this is one of the reasons why I'm pissed off and I'm dealing with the injustice, okay? Just because somebody says they don't understand your hair. I know a lot of white people don't understand black people's hair, okay? They don't, okay? But that's not a racial issue. It is a racial issue when you're basically telling me how I'm supposed to wear my hair. And, you know, some people say, well, then why don't you just wear your hair in an afro? I'm not going to wear an afro because I don't like the way they look on me. To me, afros are for like those women who are like 110 pounds, 5'10", who are really slender with the chiseled features, and you can rock that shit and they look good doing it. Okay, I don't look good in an afro. That's my choice. When you think that you have the right to tell me, then we have a racial issue. But I wasn't even that deep into the conversation. I just simply left because it was ridiculous over there. Okay, I didn't say a word. I upheld that contract. So that was 2 years into it. In 2015, I started realizing this person, whoever this person is, okay, is constantly following me, bringing up same bullshit. Same harassment is continually going on everywhere I go. Then I said, okay, somebody breached that contract, so I'm going to start talking. And that's what I did. Okay? But even when it comes down to confidentiality contracts, do you understand what these contracts mean? Because if you did, you wouldn't have done it. This is giving responsible positions to the responsible people is my thing. If you're not responsible, then you shouldn't be in that job. Because I said there are millions of people who are in this targeted individual program. And yes, this issue is right. It is right to follow these guidelines. Okay? Even if if I'm a minority and I'm a minority for others, several reasons, but I'm also a minority because I know what's right among people who don't. And even if I am somebody who knows, and a bunch of people can sit there and contest me, they can tell me, you know, what a fucking bitch I am, and blah, 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 you're so snooty, you think you know everything. In this situation, yes, I know everything. Because it was wrong. And when you know you're right, you have to stand up for yourself, and you have every right to. So my issue is, my biggest concern right now is I do believe there should be more education, and not just the education like the poorly executed sexual harassment education. Because like I said, you know, people are signing these documents. Oh, I know what that means. I know what that means. But yet you're blocking somebody, you're harassing somebody, you want to matchmake somebody. Oh, I want to say on this matchmaking issue, okay? All my perps, whether you're well-intentioned or not, please don't do that shit, okay? Don't do that shit, because every time I know what I'm not in denial. I'm not sad. I'm not crying because I lost so and so and so. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm pissed off because I'm not working. That's it. You know, you get angry because you were betrayed, because you trusted somebody, but I'm not sitting here like pining away and like Cool. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm pissed off because I'm sitting here at home at 3:01 p.m. on a Monday. Okay? I think a lot of people are concerned, and some people, okay, there's a lot of my perps who basically wanted me dead, and I'm pretty sure they did, okay? But there are some people who, like I said, who just really don't like to see some people alone. It makes them sad to see people alone. Let me tell you something. I'm fine alone. And there's a bunch of women who are fine by themselves. A bunch of us are fine by themselves, okay? What I want is, I want some friends, okay? I want friends is what I want. Real friends. Real ones. That would, fill the void in my life. Real, interesting friends. Friends that I can spend time with. Friends who want to enjoy my cake parties that I've been wanting to have for the very long time. Cake parties, trips to like ghost towns and little places, little jaunts here and there, garage sales and shit. That's the kind of shit I need in my life. So don't feel sorry for me. Stop pitying me. I don't need to be pitied. What's sad is I'm sitting here at 3:03 p.m. in the afternoon on a Monday. That's what you should be feeling sad about. And then there's something else I wanted to cover here. Protecting victims. Oh yeah, protect the victims before it's too late. That's why if we have proper education and using objective issues, and also talking about current issues that are going on in your workplace continuously, like at least once a week, review them. What's being said, know what's being said, talking to upper management about what's being said, and figuring out how to deal with it. Because there's a lot of women who are terrified, who are scared, and they don't need the bullshit. And you can make a difference. You can help that person instead of harming them. You can help. You can make the difference. You can make a difference in their life, in a targeted individual's life. And this goes for domestic violence, human trafficking, police departments. Because this is where they fail. They don't look at it and they don't recognize it. But you need to recognize it. You should recognize it. I know there's a bunch of people, including myself, would be thankful for it. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye-bye.